But
yeah, apparently I got an word. Apparently one of the players had some issues with the room page, so they're just gonna remake the champion selection screen.
yeah.
So they should just pick the same champions.
You would hope they would pick the same champions, but you know how these players like to go. They like to use everything.
Yeah, just using the extra time that they have to maybe work out a plan how to work against the team that the red team had.
So no, they're just going to come through with the same sort of stuff. So yeah, it's just going to be the same team. Honor rules, scouts honor, coming through. Oh, the trolley gangplank hover, just to make good measure. But yeah, it's just the same team. So Katakawutsu on the Riven is going to be interesting. I like to see how this is going to go, because in the top against the Kha'Zix, that's going to be some really interesting trade damage that's going to be going on. Like the isolation, because Riven's going to be jumping on you a lot, is going to be really strong, but Riven's just got so much damage in that lane. She's going to go for the ignite as well over the TP. She just wants to get that kill and just snowball.
Yes. So now we're into the delay.
Yep. So we've got a few minutes to just talk about the team comps, how we think that lanes are going to sort of push, and how it's going to sort of play out.
Microphone muted.
I think for the most part, these lanes are fairly even, with a lot of possibilities on either side. I think the Lissandra Diana lane will be interesting to see if Lissandra can use her superior sort of range and mana sustain from her passive to be able to try and push that Diana out.
I believe that's a mid lane. That could be a mid lane Riven, while the Diana going top. It's a possibility, because I think it would be, since
it'll be interesting to see. I mean, I would think it might be a Diana mid, because a lot of Diana mids now are running teleport. It's become quite a popular thing currently. But either way, it's going to be an interesting way to see how the lane pans out. I wouldn't have thought you would want to take Diana into Kha'Zix. I would think Kha'Zix might be able to trade a bit harder. But we'll see how it pans out, see how they want to work the lanes. Bot lane, though, really strong on both sides. So Kalista, really strong ADC, with Nautilus providing so much CC that it's just going to be... If Nautilus catches you and Kalista starts stacking up that rend and gets a really strong proc off, then it could just push that straight out.
Yeah, I did. Against Precision, it's almost kind of a mirror lane, at least when it comes to the supports, because both of them are most definitely looking for those hooks for their enemy AD carries.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see if the hooks cross over and they just sort of meet in the middle, to see how that sort of pans out. But I feel overall, Nautilus and Kalista should have the edge in this lane.
Yeah, especially when it comes to 6. Nautilus can just make like a crazy flashy play to go in, and then Audi just throw everything. Kalista's just gonna pull him away. Maybe throw him again for the extra knockout.
Yeah, that's just so much just CC potential. You've got the Fate's Call to get him in there. Then you've got the Nautilus ultimate itself, so the Depth Charge will knock you up again. Then you've got the hook. Then you've got the passive. And even after all that, you just use the Riptide, the E, and it just does the slow on top of everything. And if you're not dead by that point, then you've done a really good job. Because that is so much CC. Especially considering the Nautilus has the Ignite just for that extra damage.
Yeah, and so does Dress. So both are looking for a very similar playstyle on lane.
It'll also be interesting how they start roaming around the map, because obviously Nautilus will be a lot better when they're grouped up and he can get that depth charge off on the back line and just disrupt a team fight. But Fresh will be much better at making picks, like sending those hooks over walls, making sure to try and isolate a single player from the team, and then just pull everybody else with him. and just make sure to sort of get that one person out of the way. J4 will be really good, especially on the dive. It's a very dive-heavy comp, I feel, from this team. So you've got Lissandra, Fresh, Jarvan, and Kha'Zix just wanting to get all up in your face. But on the other side, you've got Diana, Riven, Nautilus, and Echo, who also just want to get up close and just jump on. And it's just going to be I think it's just going to be a massive mosh pit of a fight.
Hard indeed. So,
yep.
We're gonna get into the game very shortly, and then we're gonna finally get to settle the score on where this Riven is actually going.
Yep, and just as a reminder, because we will be doing one more game after this, if you do want to join in, make sure to jump into the TS, which is houseparty5v5.typefrag.com. Jump on in, sit it out in the EUS lobby at the end of the game, and be sure to basically wait around, have a laugh.
Yeah, and if you feel like Riven is going mid, you're welcome to use the hashtag GrindRight, or if Riven is going top, use the hashtag ChillRight.
You're right, best right. What I say.
Because I'm doing the moving champions around myself, I'm actually gonna put Diana on top because I have so much faith on it.
Too much confidence, too much confidence. I feel that this is gonna be top lane. I just don't. I've just got a good feel about this.
Diana is
Diana,
moving on the top. I am right.
No, Diana, go mid.
The gods have spoken, and it's the Grand Lord that has risen victorious.
Terrible. Although I will say, Riven has not bought any items.
And there she goes. And moving
terrible.
On to that mid lane.
Terrible.
You can't really see this, but I have like the biggest grin on my face at the moment.
And I have the smirk of disappointment.
That's what you
deserve. My words as Riven goes mid.
Yeah, that's what you deserve for calling such craziness as Diana mid.
It's certainly gonna make this laning phase a lot more interesting, as to see how Riven's gonna deal with that range poke from Lissandra, as opposed to going into that Kha'Zix.
So, a very well, like on the side of the red buff, it's very well that where they are standing, they're very well guarded because Diana is guarding the tribush, Echo is guarding the jungle entrance, while Riven is in the mid lane, but the duo is now in the bottom side of the jungle, so they're covering all the bases basically.
Yeah, they're not worried of an invade, because they've got that ward making sure. Lissandra already up to an advantage with that sentinel, but needless to say, that's not going to snowball too hard straight away. So interestingly here though, Jarvan going for the assist from bot lane, while the opposing bot lane of Kalista and Nautilus actually take Gromp on their own. This could set them into a decent advantage if they get back to lane in time with the XP from Gromp.
Let's see if they're not gonna lose any minions. It's gonna be one minion. Technically I'm right because they're not gonna lose minions. They lost a minion. But still that's only one. But jeez, takes a lot of damage from the piercing light.
Yeah, a lot of damage there. Keep traded through. I feel some of it may have been Gromp, but we can see in mid lane though that this is the problem with running Riven into Lissandra.
Oh, Nautilus got the level too early, went for the hook, but it was only to be on a minion. Meanwhile, Riven gets stunned up by the Lissandra.
Yeah, this trade is really not favourable for Riven. I mean, she can't get close at this point because it's the early game. At level 3 she may have a slight advantage because she can trade a little bit harder with the stun, but at the minute she just can't get close enough to really do any damage as Lissandra just lands the slows and can just spam abilities from range.
So, both Kalista and Riven already have burned through their health pot that they had with. So, Lysandra is looking pretty strong, especially with an Ignite, while Kalista gets hooked by the Thresh. But that's only a minimal damage. They almost traded up back to Thresh. And now Lucian is ignited and stunned in the push. They're great, but now Thresh has gone in. Tries to get the last auto attack, but it's not to be. Instead, pushes Nautilus in, and he flashes in for the riptide damage, but it's not enough. Actually, Kalista also flashed in, and that's double kill for Thresh.
And the Thresh is gonna carry this game now, I feel. With those 2 kills picked up, it's very aggressive flash there from both of the bot lane. And Echo possibly looking to pick something up.
Yeah, Echo tries to get the kill. Doesn't get the parallel converter stun. Dashes in, gets a 1. Actually, is it gonna be? Yes.
Ooh,
does get it. That would be very bad if he didn't get it. But now has the double buff, is burning through Thresh. Let's see, Thresh doesn't have smite or flash or anything, so it's gonna go down. A double kill.
Really good pickup there. So Echo trading it back really nicely, and to be honest, I would rather have 2 kills on Echo than 2 kills on Thresh. And to be fair, I think that was just a little bit, not so much greed because they were just pushing the wave in, but because they didn't have vision, and the trinket was up, so they could have just popped down a ward in river and just seen whether that was coming in. But top lane,
yeah, Jarvan is ganking, but the nice timed flash comes in, and no damage kill onto Diana thanks to that flash.
Yeah, so that flash really came through there, but it wasn't a massive amount of pressure. J4, possibly looking for something else top, maybe.
Yeah, maybe looking for a regank. Meanwhile, Riven being dangerously low.
Yeah, just methodically poked down by this Lysandra, who's just doesn't feel any pressure right now.
But now Echo finds Jarvan in his own jungle, has to smite for just from hell, but there comes the knockup from Jarvan, but the parallel convergence is thrown down, and the shield, but doesn't get the stun. Instead, Lysandra comes in, gets the ignite, and Jarvan picks up that kill.
Really good work there by the 2 of them. The communication was strong, just making sure that you can go in and you have the trust that your mid laner is going to come through for you and deliver, and that Lysandra certainly delivered right there.
Yeah, perfect time also. Riven went back, so it was basically a 2v1.
Yeah, so Doran's gonna have to start making some more blades because it looks like the red team are gonna try and buy all the Doran's blades, with 4 currently held between Riven and Kalista. Forced to buy them early because they're trying to get some temporary stats right now so they don't fall too far behind.
Yeah, especially against this pickaxe, Lucian, and a Fiendis Codex on Lysandra. And now a 3-man gank, a parallel convergence is good! It goes so deep that Kha'Zix actually walks into it. It's Riven who gets the kill, and that's a very big kill for Riven.
Yeah, perfect positioning by that parallel convergence, caught the Kha'Zix as he was jumping away, and just meant that they could easily secure that. Riven making sure she was in the perfect position as well, and possibly again another bit of overextension by these lanes, not having the wards down to be able to say that they're safe.
Nautilus tries to use the Thresh line to get away. Meanwhile, Lysandra and Jarvan have now gone to the bottom lane. Instead, they lock up Kalista into the ulti, but now Kha'Zix comes in with the teleport. They're at least gonna get a kill onto the Nautilus. And Diana using the TP onto top lane just to push it in. Riven is there right over the wall, but doesn't get it actually gets spotted thanks to the ward.
Just a party bot lane looking for the dives because Kalista was only level 4, she had no hope of getting out of that, and Nautilus without ultimate.
Echo throws in a parallel convergence, does go for the stun, but is cancelled. Doesn't get the steal, but now that's a 2v4, and it seems that Riven is gonna get 1. Doesn't get the second one because it's Kha'Zix who gets it. Ignite was thrown, but it's not enough. Coin comes through to Echo, is barely enough. Lucian tries to dash in, but Kalista is there to respond. The camera goes really wide over, and now we're back into action, and Nautilus has Thresh line his way onto the Thresh, and he gets attacked from the Ren Ignite, but he flashes away from harm's way, and Kha'Zix a little bit was looking for something. Has to run away now before this. Yeah, not in range for the dredge line.
A really long flash there from Fresh though, being able to get over that wall into the river, but again, an interesting play from both sides. So we saw the Dragon go over, but on the other side, for Red Team, we saw the Diana. She instantly TP'd top as the Dragon was going and just wanted to trade that top lane. So that's why she wasn't there for the fight, and that was as soon as the bottom TP came through. So getting that pressure in as soon as possible so that she can make sure she secured that objective. And that makes this Dragon a little bit more worth for Red Team.
Yeah, Diana already picking up a Stinger, going for the Nashor's Tooth first item. And Diana actually going for a deep ward. She's gonna find that Jarvan was doing the blue buff. Lissandra is moving there, and so is Riven, and so is Kha'Zix. So that's gonna be a 5-man party on the blue buff area. Kha'Zix jumps over the wall, gets a slow onto Diana, and the isolation damage is huge. Latte picks up that kill on the Kha'Zix.
That's a warrior enchant Jarvan as well. He got a lot of damage from that flag and drag and the isolation.
Oh, the double man power convergence stun comes through, and the Riven jumps in, gets a huge damage onto the Lissandra, and there comes the double kill. Meanwhile, a hook came in on bottom lane, but nothing followed.
Followed the steps perfectly. Just the stun came through on both of them, and they were just sitting ducks for the Riven, waiting with ultimate ready.
Yeah, Lissandra tried to use the glacial path in the end, but it was just a little bit too late.
Yeah, cancelled at the perfect time. The stun came through just as the glacial path was about to reach its maximum distance, which is what she was aiming for. And it was just, that little bit too late, so she couldn't even jump away.
Yeah, she'd have been happy with just any kind of movement from the glacial path, and then just be able to walk the last distance. Now Echo jumps over the wall, but finds a ward. Instantly cleared out, and then goes... Oh, clever boy! He walked as he was going away, but he walked back in, but the ward still had vision on him. So he tried to bait it, but the blue team is reading that, so Jarvan is moving down, and so is Lissandra. Echo is recoiling the push, but now he's cancelled. Echo tries to find the Jarvan, thinks that he doesn't know that he's there, but Lissandra is there over the wall, and that is a frozen tomb for Echo.
And that will be his frozen tomb, and it's just another case of just not expecting what the blue team is doing. They're playing so aggressive and looking to just dive this bottom constantly. Relentless the amount that they want to just push in and do damage.
Diana now looking for a gank of her own onto the mid lane. See if she can assist Riven some more. Lissandra has the double buff, so she's gonna do some nice bit of damage with those basic attacks.
Yeah, Diana's just gonna back up and try to get to that top lane.
Actually, the bottom lane is going for a Thresh who's all alone on that ward, but Jarvan is there to follow it up. He flags and drags over to the fight, and now uses the Catalysm to zone out Nautilus in the fight. One more auto attack, there comes, but Lissandra is now joining, gets one kill, and gets second one.
Yeah, beautiful work there from Lissandra. Again, just reading the map, coming down where the fight breaks out, and just being able to fight, but again, another bit of action mid.
Yeah, Riven was trying to push the turret, but Latte came in just in time to defend it. A nice hook, actually. I think it was just out of range, but it was a very nice aim.
The Echo dashed out the way just as the hook was about to connect, so maximum swag points there from Echo, but I feel it's going to be a little bit harder for him to really make much of an impact right now. And as you see, Lucian just pushing out the bottom lane, getting that turret. And that just means there's not going to be any more dives bottom, because they're going to be pushed up a lot harder. But I feel this mid turret's not going to be long before it starts getting focused down.
No, it's almost half health. And just a hook, but Riven goes in with the ultimate. The slash is almost enough with the ignite, but it's not, thanks to the Dark Passage shield.
Yeah, that was really good there, but even with the ignite, it just wasn't enough to be able to secure the kill, and a good hook.
Oh, and another hook comes in. This time Lissandra goes in and tombs herself, but she's just doomed herself thanks to that move. Now Kha'Zix is in the middle of them. 4 men. Can he get one? No, he can't. Riven is gonna get a shutdown kill.
Yeah, Lysandra failing a frenzy check there and just going in and dropped the tomb on herself to try and keep herself alive, but even so, it wasn't enough to be able to just take out anyone. And all she managed to do was just serve herself up on a silver platter, and this could be Dragon going over because of it.
Yeah, 2 members down. They get the Rift Scuttler. And now the Rend stacking onto the Dragon is gonna come. Jarvan almost has the impossible work cut out for him.
Yeah, I feel even if he does dive in here to try and get the steal, it could still end up pretty bad. For him, he'll either get traded out or not get it at all.
Lysandra and Kha'Zix are on the way, but Caravan Conversus comes down, and Jarvan is dead at where he stands. Now Diana is gone in, there's the Nautilus ulti comes, and here comes Nautilus himself. Nautilus is gonna pick up 1 kill, and now Thresh has flashed behind the Kha'Zix and the Lysandra, and Kha'Zix is gonna get 1 return kill onto the Diana. Tries to hop over the wall, but fails.
Is not able to get over.
Yeah, you look like that we didn't see it, but thank goodness we have a replay system, so hopefully we're gonna get it played out, so we can see that Latte is not immortal.
Yeah, that was an interesting jump there, but just not enough, not enough distance to be able to get over. That's the problem though, is the Jarvan got just deleted there. You tried to go in, but Convergence coming down and then Riven stuns, and just there's nothing you can do into that. They managed to trade it out decently by pushing them away, but just not enough to really make an impact.
So Riven, 5-1.
Yes, 5-1 coming out. See, falls really well to early pressure, like the poke that we were seeing. We're seeing she was really low, and it's one of the reasons he managed to die early on. But at the same point, she has such a strong kit that she can bring, and when you've got an Echo setting up these perfect parallel convergences, literally serving you up 2 kills on a silver platter, there's just nothing you can really challenge with that. I feel the real MVP at the minute is this Echo with his ganks. He's been so strong, and just the perfect positioning of those parallel convergences just means that even lanes that aren't necessarily winning are getting ahead really well.
Most indeed.
So the biggest discrepancy we see at the minute is actually the top lane, where Diana is behind by almost 1,500 gold. And at the minute, it's not being felt massively, although the Kha'Zix is doing the work to make those cleanups. So that's more where his pressure's coming in. It's not so much in the team fights, but after, where he's just coming in, getting a few odd isolation attacks off, and making sure to get that damage so that you just get what is basically a reset machine later in the game. It'll be interesting. I'd like to see what happens when he does upgrade his wings, and see if he does do some interesting double jump mechanics, but at the minute, looks like they're setting up for something bot lane.
Yeah, get that upgrade wings to get over the walls that you need. Now Echo is looking for a gank on the bottom lane, tries to try to recall, but that's too late. Phase Cold comes in from Nautilus, he goes in, gets the ulti onto the Lucian. Meanwhile, Echo and Kalista are going for the the Thresh actually, and they're gonna get both kills. It's Riven and Kalista.
Split up perfectly there. So making sure to keep the Nautilus going on the Lucian, so that you've got someone who can close the distance and keep him there for the Riven to come up, and then sending the Echo off of the Kalista just to ensure that that Thresh goes down. Really well played there, to make sure that the bot lane dies. I know it's possibly just going to be bottom side turret and maybe some vision control in the bottom side jungle, I would hope. But mid lane looks like there's a lot of group, and Diana pushing aggressively in top.
Yeah, pushed in that way, and now she's looking for ways to make... Looks like trying for gank onto the Jarvan, who just uses the flag and cancels Diana into that catalyst of doom.
Yep, never mind. It's not Jarvan who's called out. It turns out it was you all along. Diana just getting turned on, and Lysandra landing that tomb. Jarvan with the Cataclysm, and just nothing you can do into that. Too much damage.
And it's not overkill if you get the kill.
Exactly.
So,
At the minute, it's a very much game of just setting up plays in spaces where there's not vision. So at bottom you can see bits and pieces of vision scattered out. So blue side have got a decent coverage of their own jungle now. They've taken out the wards that were there and have put their own in place, so they're not going to be dived on too much, but they really need to be more careful when they're pushing aggressively. We saw the two going further up and just being caught out because they were just not, they didn't have the vision in the enemy jungle, and this is the problem, is their ward line isn't moving up as they move up.
Yeah, we're really having some difficulties on that line. But now Dragon is coming up in a minute, while Baron is coming up in 30 seconds. I don't think that Baron is even a topic at this point yet. Kills being so even, only at 1000 gold separating these teams.
Few kills could result in a Baron for red team. Blue team, I think, have got a lesser chance of doing it because they are quite a squishy team, and I don't think they can tank Baron for very long, or would want to, because they have a lot. There's just so much ways that red team can just dive in and just get that last little bit of damage. But if red team get a few kills, I feel that the Callista Rend and Riven's kit would be enough to just tank it out. Really well dodged there by Echo.
Yeah, if you're gonna choose a time to dodge, you better at least make the last moment to make it. Make yourself look cool.
Definitely, Echo is certainly going for the swipe points, and Riven going in.
Yeah, try to go in, try to get the stun on the Lucian, but the Lucian's just like, nope. And Riven just ended up standing there. And then manages to jump away.
Looking around Dragon, see how this turns out. Looks like blue side are going to want to start it off, but they're a bit hesitant because of all the engage, such as this.
Yeah, there comes the ultimate from Nautilus. He's gonna find Lissandra, but Lissandra has an ulti to cast on herself. Now Lucian has been caught out by the Echo, uses that ultimate to get out. Now Kalista is in the backline on his own, gets one kill onto the Lucian, but now Riven is following up with that Wind Slash. Gets one kill, their Sunniers gets taken down in the end by Echo, and now they're hunting for a Kha'Zix. Riven gets a stun, gets one auto, gets two auto, but there's no isolation damage, and that was with a wonky looking hook.
That was an interesting hook there, getting bended to the side, bent to the side from the flash, but now it's going to be an easy Dragon pickup, unless Kha'Zix can get some resets maybe.
No way! Kha'Zix, don't even think about it! He gets one kill, but now he gets stun locked. Oh, he gets out! Oh my god, he gets out! Despite the CC that Nautilus and Diana have.
That was very good by the Kha'Zix, jumping in at the perfect time to just pick off that Riven. There's not enough health to get away, and the isolation damage just doing the work.
Yeah, not prepared. I think if Riven was a little bit aware, she could have used the stun AoE and maybe get in time and then use the shield to get out.
I think
that would have been very fast reaction times.
Yeah, I think to be fair, more so is the way she walked opened her up to something from that side. She could have possibly just went back through our own side jungle and just taken no risks whatsoever, but at the same time, really didn't expect that Kha'Zix to just come flying out with the evolved wings. I mean, the leap range that he gets increased is just so strong. Riven securing the red buff.
What's that in the sky? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? No, it's a Kha'Zix flying through the air to seek those skills that he finds.
I would like to see Kha'Zix continue to make these kind of plays later on in the game, and I'll be interested to see if he can get those jumps to actually aggressively jump on the back line. But we'll have to see how it plays out. Just a bit of vision wars going on in the meantime, making sure to clear out those pinks, get a bit of vision in the enemy jungle, but blue team, most of their resources focused on the Dragon Pit at the minute, and red team just trying to defensively ward up with a few pinks. But at the same time, I feel blue team needs to aggressively push that ward line up if they want to take any deeper wards, but at the same time...
There's the parallel convergence coming. Gets a stun, but I don't think that Noto's got the basic attack onto Jarvan, so he manages to get out.
Oh! That 0.25 second recall just hit at the wrong time. And beautiful back there. If you can call it back beautiful.
Yeah, back in with damages on the background.
Yeah, so I think red team we can officially call the swag team because they're doing a lot of last minute escapes here. But
yeah,
blue team coming out really strong with the damage. At the minute the objectives are actually really even. This game is surprisingly close. The goal deficit is only a couple hundred, and we're not actually seeing that much go in either way. So dragons, one dragon extra on red team, turrets evened out perfectly with tier 1s all down, and the ward's really strong as well. I think this is going to be the closest game of the day.
Now let's see that the red team has 2 dragons for the one that blue team currently has. Riven is pushing that top lane. Wait, no, actually she's not pushing it, she's just standing in a push, waiting for somebody to come along. Maybe to
so
get...
she's pushing it now, to try and get a bit of pressure, because Jarvan revealed himself along with Fresh, so she knew that they weren't going to head top. And now she's going to head back down to mid to try and give some assistance, but Nola's possibly caught out here.
Yeah, Lissandra went over the wall with the glacier pad, but it's not the target, but the Fate Skull comes in and the hook onto the Echo, and now Echo is on the Thresh who just both disengage.
That is a lot of damage taken from the culling there. He ate most of that to the face and just not able to really even get on the backline because Fresh able to just disengage with the ult, with the flay, and really well played there.
Okay, yeah, Echo having to recall, so this opens up some damage for the mid lane inner turret. Nautilus gets hooked and stunned and killed.
Kha'Zix is looking at the side, but he is standing on a ward, so the red team are aware of this. And they're definitely aware of it now because he fires the rockets over the wall.
Yeah, but now Echo finds Jarvan. Not sure if that's the target that you want to find. Diana goes in, and there goes Riven. That's a 2-man stun, but there's a Lissandra with the self-cast ultimate. Riven is in the middle of them, but Kha'Zix is gonna get 1 kill. Now Lucian is gonna get a second one. Now Lucian's in the front that has to flash over the wall. Meanwhile, Tres gets a hook on the Raptor. Not the one that you want, but now Kalista is hunting the Thresh. Meanwhile, Echo was trying to look for the Lucian, and he finds him, but is he gonna get killed?
Oh.
No, it's Echo who gets the kill.
Just enough there. So he pops the Locket of the Iron Solari to get the extra shield just in case. So he had no pressure there really. Ultimate coming through aggressively.
Oh, we have Fate Skull and a Flash, a lot used for this support pick only.
And Steven is getting strong, to say the least. He's got his Runans, he's got his Blade of the Wind King, and he wants to do some hops, do some skips, and do some deeps.
Yeah, and now Jarvan walks a little bit too forward, gets the kill onto the Echo, but there's a lot of Rend stacks and an Ignite popping, but he doesn't get the pop onto it.
Echo killed with ult up as well.
Yeah, not expecting the damage.
Oh, really not expecting that damage coming through. I mean, Kha'Zix is exceptionally strong right now. And you need to be careful of their entire team, to be fair, because there's multiple damage threats that are coming down. So, clearing out a bit of vision now around Dragon, because it's just spawning. Riven coming in there to just plop another one down.
Just standing like, you know, I know what you're doing, and I enjoy it. I might come in and join myself.
Straight away.
Echo is not there, so no.
Prepared.
No, Echo was dead, so no chance of a smite. Instead, Ren just tries to go in for a kill, but Jarvan uses the flag to get over the wall.
Yeah, no chance of picking something up there. Diana taking the blue buff. Right call, I would say. It's probably the best person to have the blue buff on their side. But just not able to get there in time to pick up the dragon, and that's going to push Give blue team a little bit more, so they're ahead in gold behind in kills, but at the same time, objectives are all that counts.
Both Echo and Cassis are now gonna meet in front of this Baron. Baron's gonna look what's happening there. Oh, I can't see anymore because they're over the wall. Echo takes a lot of damage, but the power convergence comes out. He's gonna get the shield and the stun and the ulti, and now Kha'Zix has jumped and leaped over the wall and do the safety. But
Yeah,
Jarvan
really
is still
good
looking
escape
for
there.
Echo. The rest of the blue team is there. There comes the Glacier Pad and the hook. The hook goes wide. And the Glacier Pad does not connect, and the rest of the red team is there to back Echo up. Barrel converges comes down. Echo now there's actually flashing for a hook. Instead uses the ulti onto the Lysandra, who's Sonny is instead trying to get the knockup. But now there's a lot of damage going up in that fight. Lysandra using that ulti onto herself, but Kalista getting that one kill. Kalista getting Nautilus getting that second one, and Colin is just mashing onto the front line of Echo.
Nautilus going so aggressive there with the Fate's Call. That could have easily been a Kha'Zix reset.
Oh,
if he was in
Kha'Zix,
range.
are you going for it again? You have to do it now if you want to get it. No, gets a lot of damage, but in the end, China flashes away.
Yeah, really good work there to just deny the Kha'Zix that kill. And they're possibly looking for a risky Baron here. They're so low. This could easily turn on them.
Yeah, no ward except for that one that is currently disabled. Dress is a little bit good. Oh, the nice flick cancels out the jump, but
A
the
nice
final
double.
ulti tick comes from Riven.
Yeah.
But that cancels out the Baron.
It does cancel out the Baron, but I feel it may have just been a bait all along. I mean, I don't feel that Red Team could have got that very well. Or even if they had got it, they would have been so low that that could have been a cleanup, just from Lucian himself. But we'll see how it progresses. Red Team certainly showing their intention to go for that Baron, and possibly a way to push forward in this game, because really in a deadlock at the minute where Blue Team have done a really good job of pushing their own advantages, but Red Team have had really good ways of just coming back a little bit, crawling back at these little things and making these little dents that just bring them back in this game and just push them ahead by what was an even score into a 7-kill positive and possible objective control of Baron.
Yeah, that Sentinel keeping an eye out on the Baron, making sure that he does not move from where he is supposed to be, but the gold is, again, it's only like 1k.
Yeah, it's so close right now. A single team fight could go either way, but Riven looking to catch Kha'Zix out.
Yeah, activates the Yumus, flashes in for the stun, but Kha'Zix invisible, still lands the ultimate into the right direction. Kha'Zix had used the jump, Riven uses the ignite, using those gap goes to get the stun, and there's the final kill. At the meantime, there's a fight going on. Lysandra using the glacial path to go in and actually using the ulti onto herself, gets the kill onto the Kalista, and Nautilus is dead. Now they're looking for Echo, who uses the dash to go another way, but it doesn't matter. Uses the Sunnies for some extra time, but my Dress is gonna be the one that's gonna pick him up.
And this game is just a merry-go-round. We're just going round and round with who's got the lead here. I mean, Red Team had the lead, and now they've just got 3 kills for 1, and possible Baron going over. But this is, again, quite risky, and Diana's looking for kills.
Yeah, Diana, you're gonna be the hero. You, yes, have Riven with you and be the hero that you need for stealing that Baron. As Sonius comes through onto Diana, they're gonna pick up 1 kill on the Riven. Diana gets a reset, but goes down in the end to Lysandra. Now Riven
Kha'Zix is on the way.
just waiting, gets 1 kill, but there's Kha'Zix with an isolation damage. And that's a shutdown kill. Again for Kha'Zix, relating to Kha'Zix.
Yeah, so Kha'Zix seems to be really good at coming in towards the end of these fights and just making the cleanups. But that was a really tough Baron there. The problem was that they started the Baron after getting the kills, but the kills were not on the 2 main carries of Riven and Diana. And if Diana had actually been able to get round quick enough, she could have just reset her ultimate and instantly deleted Lysandra and Lucian. They did end up going down, but they did trade it off for both Riven and Diana because they took quite a while doing it. And just a messy fight altogether.
Yeah, actually Riven was off fighting Kha'Zix, so that fight went on so far that Kha'Zix actually respawned, walked up to the river, jumped in from the river to the blue buff area and got the kill.
Yeah, exactly. But he did TP back in, but at the same time, that again, yeah, enough time for Riven to just walk all the way from bot side and starting off the Baron again.
Yeah, but there's a ward on behind and you may have no pink ward on you. Actually, none of your teammates have a pink ward. So, Diana, you have a good chance of poking them down. Let's see if Echo can come up with a steal. Goes in with the Parallel Convergence. Jarvan is still in the pit. Okay, now he's exited. But Lysandra gets hooked, has to use the Sun, yes. But no, actually just manages to get out without even using it. And Baron Acker was on the Nautilus, who took a lot of damage from that one Baron attack. But Lucian is a little bit alone. But they don't see it. Instead, the Riven just takes the blue buff, says thank you very much. Jarvan actually going up down to make sure that nothing else happens.
That's just a reminder that wards can win games, because that ward just spotted out the sneaky Baron.
Oh, and that if there was a ward that would have saved his life, manages to get the jump out anyway, but still, if there was a ward he would have not gone anywhere near it.
Yeah, that was it was a really good pick by Riven, but Jarvan's just got the flag, and once he gets the flag and drag, he's just safe. Getting some vision control of Dragon now, looking to get this objective.
Yeah, that's gonna be the third one for the blue team. And Echo on a little bit on the other side of the map. So a little bit off positioned.
And again, coming out with really strong objective control from blue team, making sure to just take these dragons when they can. And both teams just coming out really strong. Like, the dragons are almost equal. Only one in favor of blue, which has just gone down. And the towers still, no towers have gone down. We need to see some kind of split push or something to sort of take a little bit more pressure into that base.
Yeah, all outer turrets are gone from this game. Can wave them goodbye. Everybody is thinking about getting an inner turret. You gotta have an inner turret to win a game. Jarvan looks to be chased by Riven, but Riven chooses that few more hops and that's gonna be enough, and we're just gonna hop away. And we're killing.
And going back to this Baron again. I mean, it feels like blue team are really trying to force this Baron, but the sight stone from Nautilus is apparently just doing all the work here. And he's just placing so many wards. Same with Echo. Echo's buying loads of sight wards here and just plopping them down where necessary, but possible engage.
Yeah, Dresh looking for a engage with the coin being activated. There comes the coin. Hit most of them, hipping onto the Echo on the front line. Uses that Anya's Arrow Convergence coming down, gets the shield and uses the ultimate. Now Riven has jumped down onto the Lucian and he's gonna get one kill, but he's chased down by the Kha'Zix. Meantime, in the middle, Lysandra used to be in the middle, had to flash away. Kalista now flashing in, get the range stacks onto everyone, and now Kha'Zix wreaking havoc, just getting a triple kill. Now looking for a quadra kill, doesn't get the voice spike. Oh, and doesn't get the kill onto the Nautilus, but is now looking for a Kalista instead for consolation prize. Jumps over. Kalista, very mobile. This could go horribly wrong for Jarvan.
Kha'Zix's leap is about to come up again, and
yeah, there it is, and damage, and an official quadra kill.
Unofficial quadra kill coming through that Kha'Zix. Again, just doing the work here. He's just coming around, making sure to take out those squishies and just jump around the entire team. I feel the Echo engage was quite lackluster there, so it was good that they managed to get in and he got the Zhonya's up and managed to get everybody else to come up, and they did manage to put a lot of damage onto the backline and trade out carries, but not able to win the fight and significantly enough to put any pressure anywhere. So we've basically just extended the deadlock again, where we're just trading up everything, and blue team actually coming out ahead because of the Kha'Zix coming out really big. Interesting leap onto the spot there.
Yeah, just showing the dominance to the ward that, hello, this is my jump, be afraid of it because I'm gonna use it to get to your backlines, I'm gonna get the isolation damage if you happen to be alone, and I'm gonna kill you.
And that is one big Jarvan.
Beefy beefy. I
Certainly
wonder if
a
he's a
beefy
carnivore or not.
I would hope so, honestly. But let's see how he sort of plays this out, because the Jarvan is looking to go aggressive. He's trying to get around the flanks, trying to sort of clear out this vision, but there's a lot of vision going down there.
Ooh, Dress landed a hook, but no follow-up coming through though. Nice one. Little laughter on the lane, just showing ha 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 ha.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
The hooks. But now Jarvan is going to farm the top lane while Kha'Zix is going to the bottom lane, so if the red team is going to look to fight, it's going to be now.
Yeah, I don't think that hook would have been favourable even if it had landed, because Echo is looking to get into that team.
Yeah, the red team is actually pushing this mid lane because the jungler and the top lane are on the side lane. Kha'Zix can come with the TP, but Jarvan cannot. Has to use the recall. Actually, Nautilus gets very low, and now Echo is in the front line. Has the dash to get away. Thresh not going for any kind of hooks.
Turret does go down though, so it is an objective advantage, and we finally see a fourth turret come through. So now that the inner's gone down, hopefully that'll open up more pressure to the side lanes, where we can see preferably more, but again, this Baron being contested.
Yeah, now has the sweeper sweeps those two wards disabled. Now they see, now they don't actually see for a few more seconds, but is Riven not in time for a steal. Thresh tries it with a hook, but Riven is already dashed out.
But finally taking the Baron, thankfully, because this would have been something like the 5th attempt we'd have seen to try and take this out. Each time it's been warded, but this time they managed to steal it through, and just they're going to try and push aggressively and take a mid-turret in exchange.
The recall was very ballsy of Riven, but Diana, you should not be going to the sidelines when there's 5-man push coming out on the mid lane. Just stick with the team. Harrow converges, is down, is thrown down, but Dress actually cancels Echo from going into it. Now Lysandra is in the middle of it, has to use the ulti onto herself, but now Diana tried to jump in the midair, so cancelled her ultimate up. Kha'Zix gets 1 kill, gets a second one, gets a third one. Oh, an ace! So much damage coming out that I couldn't even keep up. That was an ace!
And that will probably be the game, right there. Kha'Zix coming really strong through with a double kill, and Thresh managing to KS the 2 as well at the end. And that is going to be GG.
Managing to get 1 more kill. So a penta denied is a game won in my books.
Yeah, really good game though.
32 to 34 in favor of the kills. The gold lead is now 6,000, but that was only because of the Baron and the last team fight.
Yeah, I mean, the way that was done, there was so much just... They were really pushing in so aggressively on both sides that there was just nothing anyone wanted to do. They would jump in, they would use ultimates on each other, and then there would just be this really messy fight where they tried to just get something out of somewhere, and then either Kha'Zix would come in for the cleanup, or Diana would come in for the cleanup, or Riven would just flash on top of someone, and just a crazy fight. Like we said, it was just going to be a mosh pit when it comes in, because there's just so much dive on both sides.
Yeah. So that was the end of game 4. We still have 1 more game to follow up, so if any of you viewers out in the Twitch want to join us, please sure to come onto our TeamSpeak channel, houseparty5v5.typefrag.com, and make sure that you join the EU West lobby, and make sure that the admins are notified that you want to play on this last game. You'll most likely get a chance if you haven't played 1 game so far, so make sure that you come along.
We'll be back shortly. Thanks for...
Sound muted. Sound resumed.
And we're back, and sorry for telling you a little bit of a lie, but that lie was also told to me because I was told that there would be one more game after this one, but apparently there's not gonna be. The time is almost at midnight for most of the Central European players.
Like it's a school night, so a lot of people had to get off.
Especially me, I still need to sleep for tomorrow.
Yeah.
But everyone, all of us here at House Party 5v5 would like to thank all of the players and the viewers who joined us on this night, and be sure to join in for our next in-house games that are happening this Friday, 8 PM Central. And be sure that you follow us on House Party 5v5 on Twitter, and you follow us on subreddit /r/houseparty5v5 EU West. Now, in behalf of me, Joe,